I've been waiting for this one. People love to get mad about predestination versus free will. Like, they love it, which I do too. I love to argue about this one, but let me go ahead and give you my perspective before we get into anything. Basically, I believe that the argument between predestination and free will is 100% entirely a debate based on human logic. We're not given a precise answer on this. I think if we were given an exact answer on this, there would be no debate, as like nobody debates the 10 Commandments, like obviously, it just says it right there. But things like this that aren't stated clearly in the Bible, obviously there's going to be debate. So really, I don't think this is much based on scripture as it is human logic, and I'll explain. So basically, one opinion is that God has predestined every human for either hell or heaven. The other argument is free will. The free will argument says every human on earth gets to decide if they want to go to heaven or hell. But there's a couple problems with this. I'll start with predestination. This one is brought up a lot. If people are predestined, then that means God knew that somebody was going to hell and he still created him. Why would an all-good, all-loving being create somebody who's going to eternal suffering? Doesn't make sense, logically. For free will, we believe that God let humans decide if they want to go to heaven or to go to hell. Problem with this is, if you have an all-knowing God who doesn't know if these humans are going to heaven or hell, then he's not all-knowing. Logically, doesn't make sense. And man, people will go back and forth on this. Something I see very often is that people who believe in predestination try to mix in free will into their beliefs in some way, and people who believe in free will try to mix in predestination into their beliefs in some way. But personally, based on human logic, that is impossible. The two main arguments that I hear in the middle ground of predestination and free will is, well, we are predestined, but we also have the free will to choose in a way, but God really knows what we're going to choose, but really we have free will to choose. That doesn't make sense. If God knows what you're doing, then you don't have free will. If God created you and he knows where you're going, then it may feel like you have free will, but you don't, because ultimately you were made and he knew what you were going to do. So you were he predestined you. He made you. He predestined you to go here or here. So that doesn't work. The other argument that I hear is free will leaning says, well, we all were predestined to go to heaven, but because of our sin and our free will to sin, some of us go to hell. But that also doesn't work, because that doesn't solve the problem. We still, in that scenario, don't have a God who's all-knowing. He still doesn't know if we're going to heaven or hell. So this is a really tough argument, because you can't have a middle ground. If you have a middle ground, then you're ceding that there is free will or that there is predestination when it can't work together. So what do you do? If none of it makes sense together, you can't have one thing because it's paradoxical, and you can't have a middle ground because they don't work together, then what's the answer? I don't know. We're told so often in the Bible that there's so many things that we just can't fathom as humans. To me, this is one of those things. It's not stated evidently in the Bible exactly what the answer is to this. That's why it's such a huge debate. But what helps me in this is that I know that I have a God that is outside of space and time and can do whatever he wants, and it will be done good. Having faith that there is a God that's all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-love means that I don't have to worry about this. As Christians, we shouldn't have to worry about this, because if it is predestination, if it is a version of free will, it doesn't matter. Because if he's all-powerful and all-loving, then I'm sure he found a way. By our logic, maybe not, maybe it's impossible, but he's God outside of space and time. I'm sure he could find a way to do it morally, in a good moral sense. And I mean, churches have broken up over this argument, and it's another one of these things where I don't get it. So I understand that this is a core belief to some, but really we're all trying to find salvation. Christians are so hell-bent on trying to diversify themselves based on their beliefs, even when these beliefs do not matter when it comes to salvation. So I'm making a call to those who believe in free will and to those who believe in predestination. Whichever side you believe in, it doesn't matter. Do not let it separate you from fellow Christians. Satan wants to divide us up. He doesn't want us to unify, because when we unify as Christians, great things happen. If we're called to spread the love of God and to be brothers and sisters in God, but then we can't even unite under our belief in Jesus, and instead we diversify based on our beliefs in predestination or free will, how are we going to get things done in this world if we can't unify? So please, do not worry about things like predestination or free will. If you believe in God, you will go to heaven. If you do not believe in God and trust in God and love God, you will not go to heaven. But if you spend your time dwelling on these arguments, there will be so much work left on the table that God wanted you to do. This is kind of a confusing one, I know. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments or just DM me. I mean, I have like less than 400 followers, so I'm going to reply if you DM me. That's all I've got though. Thank you. Wow, that was a long one.